Welcome to the Hacking Your Health podcast with Ben Canning and Dave Kennedy. Two guys heading out to hack body, mind, business, and beyond. We are here to provide a single source, bullshit-free guide to understanding your body and how you can live better for longer.
Shower today?
I did shower today. Yeah.
Good. Someone picked up on that. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. I feel like I need a sentence just in between. I listened back to it last week and I was like, I'm missing a sentence right in between the yo, welcome back, and I'm Ben Canning. But anyway, I'm Ben Canning.
I'm Dave Kennedy. I showered Dave Kennedy.
And this is another episode of Hacking Your Health podcast. So what's up?
Not much, man. It's been a great week. Checkins today, of course, for us. So looking good. I've actually dropped a few pounds, which has been awesome. To see kind of like the tapering off of the weight and everything kind of working as anticipated. So, for those who've been following the podcast, I've been, gradually gaining weight. Now we're kind of in a cutting phase. So the weight phase kind of going away has been nice. But no, it's been a pretty solid week. Just a really quick funny story. One of my buddies is really starting to get into lifting, and he's never really done it, religiously before in his life, but he's a really strong guy just in general. You ever met those guys that are just like naturally just strong, like just stupid strong? So he's one of those guys that's just super strong. And so he came over and he's been going to Planet Fitness for a few weeks and kind of doing his own thing. And I was like, well, so what'd you do yesterday? He's like, oh, I did, what did he say? I did, chest and biceps yesterday. I'm like, okay, let's talk a little bit about how we can fix this a little bit. So he came over and we did legs with him, and I've never heard a grown man complain so many times in his life. And then I texted him, like, he couldn't get up the stairs, I destroyed him. And then which, by the way, that's like the first time I've ever done that, where I've kind of coached somebody during their workout routine, and I enjoyed putting him through a substantial amount of pain and agony. It was very rewarding for me.
Welcome to the past 5 or 6 years of my life.
I think I'm going to quit security and be a personal trainer. So
change your career.
Here we go. No, but I texted him later on in the day. I was like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, I feel like a truck hit me, and he put in parentheses in a good way. I was like, oh, that's great. So it was a good fun week though. But how about you, man? How have you been? Yeah,
I'm doing good. It's actually funny that you mentioned.
Well, how have you been? How have you been? Seriously.
No, I have actually genuinely been good. Like, I'm genuinely good. For anybody who's listening, we were talking just before I hit record. So I was listening to the podcast, long story short, around mental health. And this is actually a good tip for anybody to note that generally when someone asks you, how you doing, we'll brush over it and we'll just say doing good or doing okay. And nobody actually really has the conversation about how people are. So the idea behind the podcast that I was listening to, I'll link it in the show notes, is basically check in on people that are close around you. You don't really know what's going on with them. So have a second, how you really doing? But genuinely, again, as we said, I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky, and I'm doing very good. I'm good. I'm laughing at you saying that you are coming down in weight. So I don't think I'm going to be able to make it up in weight in time. So my goal is just to make sure you come down in weight so I can meet you in the middle before I come over.
Ben's going to be like, hey, Dave, you're going down to 1,500 calories a day until I get there.
You have to do keto.
Keto.
You have to do three 36-hour fasts a week.
I have like noodle arms. Well, and hey, I got to apologize ahead of time on the last podcast. I think there was a little bit of sound quality issues where it was picking up like heavy breathing or something like that, I think.
I don't know whether that was you or me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would hear it though if it was you, so it probably was me, but you think you would hear me too. Anyways, if it was, I think it was picking up my headphones as the microphone as well, potentially. So I think I got that addressed this week, so hopefully it's a lot better. So I apologize if you just heard
But yes, anyway, genuinely I'm doing good. I'm back to training at full capacity, food zone line, training with Helmy. Helmy's a big boy. He has agreed to come on the podcast next week.
Oh, nice. So that'd be awesome.
He was like, do we have any structure? I was like, no. He goes, what are we going to talk about? I was like, I don't know. Just talk about you and bodybuilding and whatever the fuck you want to talk. He's like, is Dave going to be there? I was like, yes. It's like, fucking hell. So yeah, we'll have him on next week, which will be good fun. But
I cannot wait to talk to him. He's a great guy. Seems like a great guy. I've never met him, but he seems like a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you will enjoy the conversation, and anybody who is listening who knows him will be laughing because he is such a unique character, and he is not the person that I originally ever thought he was. Like, you think bodybuilder, like meathead, he is not that person in any way, shape, or form. So it'll be an interesting conversation. But anyway, yes, training's going good, everything's going good, work's going good, no complaints.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's good that things are going good, you know, and it's interesting. I'm finding like little things throughout the week that I've started changing up a little bit. Like, for example, this past week, I've been focusing less on getting like carbs in early in the morning and stuff like that, and just kind of replenishing, you know, getting protein in, and then, you know, literally focusing on my training as when I start to get my carb intake and everything else, and then, you know, post meal. And what I've actually found about doing that is I'm less hungry throughout the rest of the day because, you know, I've kind of offloaded some of that calories early on in the morning to later on in the afternoon or evening. So like now I actually don't even eat lunch until probably 3:00, and then I eat dinner more like, you know, 7:00, and then by then, you know, I hit my calories, but I'm not hungry at all for the rest of the night. So like that staggering, I get my protein intake around 10:00 now, and then, you know, I'll have around noon, I'll pound a whole bunch of oatmeal, and then, you know, go get my workout in the afternoon if it's a, you know, day where I have cardio in the morning. And then it's been working out really well. So I've been enjoying that. Energy levels have been pretty consistent throughout the week. And so that's something I've been doing a little bit different than versus, you know, kind of eating a big breakfast, big lunch, big dinner, and then kind of, you know, snacking in between. I kind of like the more staggering a little bit more towards later in the day has been working better for me.
Yeah, I find that this is just a personal preference. And if I think back to like when I was like on a meal plan, like super on the ball with it, that my first two meals, meal 1 and meal 2, they were not breakfast and lunch at that point. They were just meal 1 and meal 2 were just protein and fat. So I would have had 4 eggs and 4 whole eggs cooked in 10 grams of butter for my first meal. And I would have had this at like 4 a.m. before I went out to work, before I went to train in the gym or work in the gym. And then my next meal would have been 250 grams of extra lean mince and a whole avocado, and then some salad and veg along with it. And then, just as you're saying, you know, an hour and a half or 2 hours before my workout, I would have had my oats with dark chocolate and berries and stuff like that. And that's when I, number 1, was the most consistent with my food, but number 2, had the best workouts, you know, had the most consistent progress, and then had my, obviously, post-workout shake, cereal, and then had a big dinner of, like, you know, chicken and potatoes or chicken and rice or chicken and pasta.
Yeah. I was watching a bodybuilding episode of one of the guys from the Animal Pack group. And this guy's just...
Bodybuilders are so...
It's crazy.
So strange. Like,
it's
very
crazy.
Unique people.
You know, I was watching his daily routines of how he eats and everything. And for one, I mean, it's like literally chicken and rice all day long. He's got this big thing of chicken and rice, right? But then, like, you know, in his cardio, and it's crazy because you look at this guy and he's just gigantic. I mean, he's like, you know, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman size, you know, just huge bodybuilder, you know, competition, you know, style type of guy. And his cardio, you know, you look at these guys and you're like, man, these guys are jacked, they're fit. This guy does like 5 minutes or 10 minutes on the treadmill just walking, and he's like, you know, like it's too much mass on your body for you to be anywhere near, you know, in cardio shape whatsoever. But then, like, he's just eating all day long of chicken and broccoli. But then at the very end of the night, he has a massive meal that's, you know, like, you know, noodles and, you know, clams and butter and all this other stuff, you know, just this big, you know, linguine pasta type of thing. And he's like, enjoy it, you know, as you go along. So it's interesting how everybody's, you know, based on your body type, obviously who you are, the calories you burn, that type of stuff is all very different based off of how you do it. I'll tell you, you'll see this week's check-in, my fat has been extremely low. I'm talking, you know, 30, 40 grams a day of fat. And I find that I respond very well to that from an energy perspective and protein perspective. So a lot of my food is really lean, you know, really lean meats, and then, you know, a lot of oatmeal and protein, you know, shakes and things like that, you know, as I post-workout protein shakes. So it's been really good to kind of play with that a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of keeping fats as low as possible. And even if I think back to the time that I was just talking about, like, okay, yes, I had all eggs in the morning, cooked in butter, and I had the mince with the avocado. But genuinely after that, there was like minimal fat the rest of the day. And it was just, so basically if you consume fat along with other macronutrients, it slows down the whole digestion process. So my thought process, or the thought process that Callum had behind that, would be, if you want to get your protein and your carbs in quickly after you train, so the shake and the cereal, you don't want to have a fat source alongside that because it will slow everything down. So I know I've spoken about Cocoa Pops before, but generally his recommendation was just low fat cereal. So it was like any cereal that was below 3% fat, so like 3 grams of fat per 100 grams. And that's the thinking behind that, because it just allows your body to actually uptake the nutrients and process it that little bit faster.
I've even read, some from a processing simple carbohydrates perspective, things like Pop-Tarts post-workout is actually not a bad idea as far as replenishing glycogen stores and things to that effect. Again, fitting it within your, calorie breakout of what you're doing, but obviously you don't want to load yourself up with a ton of sugar and things like that, processed sugars and stuff. So, but it's something to be cautious of. But that brings us into our topic today, which is, how do you optimize your training? Because obviously what we're talking about here is living a healthy lifestyle, and it's all about optimization. It's all about, how can we get from point A to point B and continue to make progress? And how do we optimize ourselves so that we're not feeling like total crap as we're working out, or that we can push ourselves a little bit further or recover faster as we're going through this cycle here? So today's podcast is going to be really centric around, what is our protocols for, pre-workout, intra-workout, post-workout recovery? What are we doing to maintain high levels of energy? I do a little bit different where, I've cardio days and lifting days the same day, which is, not a lot of folks do, because, and you can still do that, but not to the extent that you're doing. Like I'm doing an hour-long HIIT training, which is exhausting. And then I'm doing, an hour and a half of lifting at the gym. So
can I just sort of interrupt the voice note you sent me the other day and ask me, did I want to do Orange Theory when I was in Iowa? And I was like, this isn't a question so much of do I want to do it, it's just tell me what day I'm going to do it on.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. We were talking about it in our text messages, and I'll just give you an example of today. There was a guy there that will actually, I've picked up on him. He watches me go and get my weight, and then he tries to get something similar. But I'm so much further past him now that's not even a thing. So like today he stopped and he waited for me to go get a weight. Like I could tell he's just sitting there, like putzing around, glancing over a little bit over at me, waiting. And I'm like, come on, man, really? Like, is this really, you want to do this right now? Okay, let's do it. So it was a single arm bench press. Okay. So I go over and I'm like, you know what? I normally would probably just pick up a 50 right now because it's more reps than it is power. But I'm like, this guy's sitting there waiting for me to pick up this dumbbell. So you know what? I got the heaviest weight there, which is their 80-pound dumbbell. And I grabbed that and I used that. He looked at me, he looked at the dumbbell, and he went and got a 40. I'm like, yeah, that's right. But that's how it's going to be when Ben and I go to Orange Series. Like, we're going to be sitting next to each other on a treadmill, and I'm going to be going, 7 miles an hour. He's going to be like, I'm going to go 7.5. And then I'm like, well, I'm going 9. And then you're going to go 12. And then we're going to be, by the time I end the day, we're going to be at 12 inclines.
I can safely say that on the cardio side, I will not be trying to compete with you. The weight side of it, I won't have an issue with, but I will not be able to keep up with on the cardio side. I mean, I might try, but you might need to literally pick me up off the floor afterwards.
It's going to be a fun time. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to get the instructors all prepped, ready to go to cheer you on. Or mess with you a bit. It'll be good. But it's funny though. Like I'll tell you, from a competing perspective, like I've talked about this in the podcast before, to where when I go to Orange Theory, I'm trying to compete with somebody mentally in my head, to go against them or something. But what's changed now is, and I don't mean to sound like egotistical, because that's not what I'm trying to come off with here, but I'm so far ahead on the running, on the rowing, on the weightlifting than the folks that are in that class, which is, really cool. And now I'm the competition for everybody. So I notice all the guys look at what I'm doing all the time, and they always focus on whatever I'm doing and try to beat me on it, which is really cool because it does push me to go a little bit further. So like today on the rowers, there's a guy there who's a great guy, but you can see him looking over at me every so often to see where I'm at on the rower, and he's trying to go, light speed to get there too. So I'm obviously going faster, trying to beat him. So it's actually kind of this fun competition between folks as we're going through. And obviously I won on the treadmill, and obviously I won on the rower, and obviously I won on the weight room. But it was not a competition at all, even though it was a competition. So.
But yes, anyway, back to how you structure your day with the cardio and the weights.
Yeah. we should caveat with everybody is different in how they do things and when their eating schedules are, and what they eat and how they eat and what's most for optimal performance. But there's a lot of good science behind understanding how our bodies work, right? So basic breakdown: carbohydrates, energy; protein for muscles, right? And fat for everything else. And so when you look at what you're trying to accomplish, for me, there's some good data on doing fasted cardio. And I prefer doing fasted cardio personally because there's two things that have to happen for fat release. One, your body has to basically mark your fat and say, this is ready to go for energy. And the second thing is your body actually has to transport that fat to be burned as energy. Now, in a fasted state, the time period for you to be in a fat loss phase via cardio is much shorter than if you're in a non-fasted state. So if you're looking at fat burning as the pure concept for this, cardio fasted will have better results for fat loss than eating beforehand for energy or whatever. Now, again, if your goal is long-term cardio where you're running for 5 hours, well, obviously, getting the appropriate nutrients and everything else that you need ahead of time is going to be really important for energy so that you just don't continuously wear your body down. But for me, if it's a cardio day, I typically do cardio first thing in the morning, and then I do not eat anything. I do have a non-calorie workout drink. Well, so I do pre-workout, which is like 10 calories, which shouldn't spike glucose. And then I have a 0-calorie intro workout drink that's just essential amino acids. And for essential amino acids, all that is the breakdown of proteins that your body can use for essentially building muscles for protein synthesis. So if you don't have enough protein and you're drinking essential amino acids, this will help your body build muscle and not deplete muscle or rip muscle apart in your body for energy sources. So a lot of times I'll drink essential amino acids as I'm going through my workout. So pre-workout, caffeine, beta alanine, things like that to get me kind of pumped up and motivated. And then a pre-work or a intro workout that has no sugar, nothing like that. Again, to continue that fasted state. And then post-workout on cardio, I do a protein shake, usually 50 grams of protein, and that's it. Basically for the morning for me. I'll get into my workout routine, like lifting, in a second, but pass it to you, Ben, for what you do for cardio.
Well, in my experience of doing 20 minutes on the bike for the past however many weeks it's been, I'll do something similar that I'll just have. I tend to do it as soon as I wake up. So I'll do something similar that I basically just have, like I make up my shaker with some sort of EAAs and some sort of electrolytes in it, just so that I have something sort of to sip on. Now, the cardio that you do at Orange Theory versus the cardio that I do is obviously entirely different. Yours is high intensity and it's an hour long. Mine is low intensity and I'm just sat on the bike. So I think for me, it's just about, I guess it's actually just about priming the body for the rest of the day. So having those sort of essential amino acids and having those electrolytes, the electrolytes are going to replace any sort of salts and other electrolytes lost in your body during sleep. And then obviously the EAAs to sort of prime your body for what you're going to do from a nutrient perspective for the rest of the day. But genuinely, 20 minutes on the bike, it's not exactly exhausting or high level cardio. And then post workout, I'll just have my breakfast because it's time to eat.
Yep. And then you get into the workout phase of things. So for me, I've really started focusing on hey, I'm going to need energy and a large consumption of energy very quickly for working out. So typically pre-workout, I will eat a lot of carbohydrates. I don't necessarily stack that with protein. Some people do, and people say, hey, protein beforehand is great. I try to keep my stomach kind of as focused on energy as possible, I guess is the best way of putting it, than kind of bloating myself up with a bunch of meat or food or protein shakes, etc. So I usually have 3 or 4 packets of peaches and cream oatmeal, which is the best peaches and cream ever. It's amazing. My wife is actually really upset with me right now because I keep buying more and more boxes of peaches and cream. So when I find something I like I get 30 of them because I don't ever want to run out of them. So protein shakes, pre-workout, I have a whole storage full of that, and it keeps
I actually can't wait to, whenever we train, just to go up to the protein store to just be able to, what can I have post-workout?
Yeah, what do you want? I got a whole selection here. So instead of having a closet of clothes, that's on the floor in the kitchen or something. I have this whole walk-in closet of protein. So, but for me, I usually do like 3 or 4 packets of peaches and cream oatmeal. That's kind of my thing. And then I also found these really cool. They're whole food bars that you have to keep refrigerated, like these chocolate chip bars, and it's just a combination of like oatmeal, protein, things like that. And it's like 22 grams of protein, 44 grams of carbohydrates, and like 3.5 grams of fat. And it's really tasty. It's like a chocolate chip cookie, but it's big. Sometimes I'll have that beforehand if I want to do that, or as a post-workout or meal, a quick meal on the road if I need it. But basically it's an hour before I'm about to go work out, complex carbohydrates to allow my body to start to digest that, to be able to use it for energy. And then usually 15, 20 minutes before I actually go and work out, I'll take my pre-workout if it's not a cardio day. If it's a cardio day, I'll just take like a high caffeine, like 100 milligram caffeine, pre-workout versus the 300 milligram one that I take in the morning for the other. And then I'll usually eat a like banana or something like that, 15, 20 minutes beforehand. And then I'll hit the gym, and do that. Now, during my gym time, as I'm working out, I have an intra-workout shake, which is basically I use Jay Cutler's Repair. It's dextrose-based, so it helps with really fast glycogen repair and giving you more energy as you're going through it. And it also has essential amino acids as part of that as well. So, as we're breaking down the muscles themselves, making sure that our body has ample things to rebuild it with. Granted, I'm sure it's not happening at the exact same time, but again, trying to protect that as much as possible. And then, after workout, post-workout is where I typically eat a big meal, protein-centric, very high protein-centric. So, I have like a steak, chicken, something to that effect, usually some rice or something, carbohydrates, afterwards to kind of maintain those levels. Versus what's going to happen is you're going to drop all your energy down. You're going to have nothing from an energy perspective. And it's going to take you an hour or more to rebuild those energy stores for the rest of the day, your glycogen stores and everything else for the rest of the day. So, getting in some good carbohydrates after your workout is also really good to maintain levels of energy, because you just don't want to be dead and trash the rest of the day. Because I found if I just do protein afterwards, I feel like total shit the rest of the day. Like I just got no energy. I go upstairs and I crash. And, if I'm doing cardio, heavy, intense cardio for an hour a day, and I'm working out in the afternoon, that is a lot of stress on your body that you're putting yourself through. And Ben suggested I go down to 2 days, which is not happening, but it's a good thought. It's a good thought. But it's one of those things that, like you want to optimize yourself so that you can perform throughout the whole day, not, lose focus or track of anything else, and make sure that you're staying at optimal energy levels.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of other things that we can look at and take into consideration that will allow you to optimize your workout hour and a half, or whatever it is. For me, from a nutrition perspective, it has pretty much been consistent for the past 7 or 8 years. I will have oatmeal, either 90 minutes or an hour before I train. And this is a sort of more recent realization that if I'm training upper body, I'll tend to have a little bit closer, because I like to feel a little bit fuller whenever I'm going into the session. Like I like to feel fuller in my stomach. If I'm training lower body, I'll try and leave it like an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, because I want that to be digested. Because, lower body training legs is bad enough without having a full stomach. So between an hour and an hour and 45 minutes, depending on what I'm training, I'll have oatmeal, whey protein, generally 50 grams, and then mixed berries, so like blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries, usually 20 grams of dark chocolate. And that's been my pre-workout meal genuinely for the past, in different quantities, from anywhere from 60 grams of oats to 120 grams of oats. And I have that in between an hour and an hour and 45 minutes before I work out. Inter-workout, my shake is, I have my creatine inter-workout. I have the InnovaPharm EAAs, because the pink lemonade one is absolutely delicious. I also have the Applied Nutrition CarbX. You're talking about dextrose, that same sort of thing. And I put between 5 and 8 grams of citrulline malate in there as well, just to sort of keep me going right through the end of the workout. That's my inter-workout shake. And then post-workout, again, it's been pretty consistent over the past however many years it's been. Some form of low-fat cereal, generally Cocoa Pops, sometimes Frosties. Again, anywhere from 60 to 250 grams at one point. Have that with a protein shake. And depending on how much volume from a cereal perspective, I'll tend to just have my shake with my cereal, so I'm not having like a shake and then cereal mixed with oat milk or almond milk. And then about an hour after that, I'll have a proper meal. The reason that I have the shake and the thing that's easy to digest after a workout is obviously from a digestion perspective. After you work out, there's a lot of blood flowing around the rest of your body and not really much going on in your digestive system. So I'll have that, something that's sort of readily available and easy to digest, that's going to absorb quite quickly. And that's sort of how I would do it. I tend to have like 1.5 liters of water. So anybody of the 31 people that watch on YouTube, a bottle like that is about as much water as I drink intra-workout. And I think that's probably a good point to touch on, that, you know, if we're talking about optimizing your workout and optimizing the things that you're doing in the gym, making sure you're hydrated before you go in is like key, like non-negotiable. And I've had this conversation so many times in check-ins over the past 2 weeks, that your hydration and your water intake should be every single day without fail, whatever it needs to be, between 2 liters and 4 liters, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, that you need to get that in, because the difference in performance, I think it's something like if you're 2% dehydrated, it affects your performance up to 20%. So you can work that out yourself, but it is so important to get your water in, and make sure you hydrate before you go into your workout.
Yeah, hydration is really key on literally every aspect throughout the whole day, right? And that's one of the things I focus on, especially after cardio. I pound water up leading up to it, and that's one thing too. And if you're timing cardio and lifting and things like that, typically if you listen to Ben or you listen to a lot of folks that are focused on the weight training aspects of things and putting on more muscle mass, cardio before working out is fine from a warm-up perspective, but you typically don't want to murder yourself, like via HIIT training and things like that prior to your lift, because you're going to be depleting most of your energy on that HIIT training aspect and not the muscle categorization part of it, where you're actually trying to build muscle. And so, warming up is great. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of some low impact, low intensity, get your heart rate up, start to, get you warmed up for your lift, and then, conduct your lift. Now, if you want to get cardio in, typically it's recommended to do cardio afterwards, right? So do your lifting first, focus predominantly on that, then do your cardio as you go again. And again, this is objective based. So if your goal is cardiovascular health and having more of a slimmer body profile and, doing long distance runs and things like that, and weight training is just a component of that, where you want to maintain leanness, that's a different story. So then, obviously doing cardio and focusing on cardio, I think is most important. Different things for different people based on what you're looking for. And so for me, when I do Orange Theory in the morning, I have to wait at least, 5 hours minimally before I actually go and I do resistance training, because my body needs time to recover from that pretty intense cardio, exercise that we did. So I did, Orange Theory this morning between 8:15 and 9:15. I probably will not work out until about 2 o'clock. And then I'll work out from 2 to 3 or 2 to 3:30, depending on what day it is and how long I have to go through it. But, that gives me enough time to restore my energy, feel good again about being able to go down there, and then, actually put in, high intensity, high exercise. And, what's interesting is I have done benchmarks on my lifting routines and how long it takes me, as well as the amount of volume. And what I find is that if I don't do cardio one day, like let's just say today I didn't do cardio and I lifted, it'll be relatively the same, if not the same, from a volume and weight perspective. So I'm not hindering my weight training at all by going and doing this. Now, some people that may happen, and if you're hindering your weight training, you don't want to do this type of schedule, right? But for me, this is what works within my schedule, my confines of my day. I don't want to be going through cardio on the weekends because I have too many things going on with the kids and that type of stuff. And what's nice though is, like, I will say from a sleep perspective, we talk about recovery. We'll talk about recovery here in a little bit, but what's nice is, like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I wake up early, right? And what I mean by early is, 6:45, which is super early for me. It's like, shit, really? Actually, a good story about that today that I want to bring in is that I woke up this morning at 6:45, and normally my mind is like, okay, it's time to go, right? Like, get up, go do your stuff, go take your vitamins, go do this, go to the shower, whatever. Take my thyroid medicine, and then I do my thing, and I go and I drive to Orange Theory. Now, and a funny story about that too is, like, I'm very particular on where I go and the routine that I go on. And so, like, the 8:15 class at Orange Theory, there's like a group of these people that get there super early and like hog all the treadmills. So it has become a battle on who can get there earlier to get the treadmill. So like I came in one day, it was like 7:55, and I got on tread 13, which I still got a tread, but it was like the last tread. I'm like, seriously, it doesn't start till 8:15. You guys are getting here 20 minutes early. So I start getting in now at 7:50, and I walk in to get tread, and there's nobody there, and I'm tread 1 all the time now. So I've won that for now. But anyways, this morning when I woke up, you know, what's interesting is I actually felt today, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I want to sleep in today. Like I just want to just relax and chill and sleep in and make it, because I don't have any meetings until like 10:30. You know, I can get some emails in the morning. You know, it could be a nice chill day with a cup of coffee. And then I can go get my lift in the afternoon. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go get my cardio in. And I looked at my Whoop, and Whoop was like, hey, you're 86% recovered. You got some good sleep yesterday. It's time to hit it, right? And I think that's where like your wearables can also be a nice motivating factor. Like if I was like in the 10% recovery and I just felt like total shit, well, I might make the determination, hey, today's probably not a great day for me to go and train because my body hasn't recovered yet. But there's no excuse for me not to go and actually go and do that. So, you know, today was just one of those days where I was just like, yeah, okay. And then as soon as I start running, I felt great. Felt like, you know, I was, you know, fully recovered and ready to go. And, you know, today I actually felt better than I think I have in a while. Like you know, every so often I'll get like my ankles will like start to like burn a bit, or my lower back is all weak because I've been running too much. I felt just like perfect today. So it was a good day to get out there and put the work in. But again, my rituals are very much based off of how I do things in the way that I kind of maximize my recovery, maximize my intro workouts, how I'm working out. All of those things are really important to incorporate into your schedule as well.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that the fact that you checked your Whoop today and it said that you had good recovery, so you're like, okay, I'm going to work out. But on other days, whenever you have shit recovery, you're like, oh, this thing's a piece of shit. I'm going to work out anyway.
So it's funny you say that, because as I was saying, if the recovery said it was 10%, and as I was saying, I was totally lying on the podcast, because I still would have absolutely gone to the gym and I would have completely disregarded.
Like, I mean, I feel like the Whoop recovery, the reason that they do that is exactly for that reason. It is for you to have an idea of if your body's in a good place to go and train. And obviously, if it's in the green and you're good to go all day long, like, go and do it. But I think that the idea of having, you know, the like yellowy color and the red color is that you should maybe listen to what it says. I know you don't.
I know,
but yeah. I think that's the idea.
No, listen, I agree with you on principle here, Ben, but when it comes to actually implementing, I don't. So, you know, most of the time, you know, listen, you can tell from my check-ins. I mean, you know, it's funny, like, I think it was, you know, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, you know, you're like, listen, we just talked about sleep on the podcast and you're getting crap sleep throughout the week. You need to work on it. And you know what I've done? I've worked on it, you know, and now this week isn't going to be as great. I'm going to completely be transparent here, but all the prior weeks have been great. It's not bad. I've got some great sleep this week. There's been a couple nights where it's been like 5 hours or 5.5 hours, but I'm mostly in the 6.5 to 8 hour range, you know, this week, which has been good. But, you know, recovery is an important aspect of everything that we do here, right? Because our bodies need time to regenerate, to recover, to rebuild, and everything else. And what was interesting, you know, when my buddy came over yesterday, you know, he was asking, he's like, well,
is he okay? Have you checked on him today?
I haven't checked on him today, but he actually scheduled last night time to come over Thursday. So we'll be working out tomorrow, Thursday as well. And what I've been doing is, for the interest of time, because it's in the mornings, and, you know, got a lot of work to get done and stuff, we're on different schedules. So like he'll be on a legs day and I'll be on, like, you know, a push day or whatever. So, you know, I can focus on him, and we're not using the same type of equipment, you know, and we're just going back and forth between things, which has worked out really good. And I'm focusing on, you know, form and everything else. It was funny because, you know, he hadn't done deadlifts before. So he's doing a deadlift, and I was working on him on form, and started off light and everything else. And, you know, started kind of gradually getting more confidence, and we're using the trap bar, which is really good to help out with form, especially early on. You know, you really can't mess up on that based on how how it's locked in and everything. And, you know, it's funny because I'm like, well, you want to get, you know, we're going to warm up. Let's get to 12. So he warms up, he does 12, he does 12 again. And I'm like, okay, you want to be in the, you know, 5 to 10 range here. And he gets to 10. I'm like, cool, keep going. You know, and he's like struggling. He's like shaking, and he's going back up. And I'm like, oh, you got 2 more, and you keep going. You know, it's just, it was great. But, you know, what's interesting about that, though, the recovery aspect of how our bodies work is just equally as important. So I have a pretty stringent recovery protocol that I focus on. So one of the things that I do is I try to apply some sort of heat to my body at night whether that's through a hot tub. I have a sauna, so I know not everybody can do that, but there are really cool portable sauna options on Amazon that are like $300-400, where like these little tents that basically come up. There's ones that just it looked like a big balloon blanket that your head goes into and your head's sticking out, and then it's like a sauna heats your body up. There's also ones that fully immerse you. It's like a pop-up tent that have infrared saunas that work really well. Those have phenomenal benefits on recovery in your body, because what it does is it heats your blood up, which thins your blood, which causes your body to repair itself much faster, because blood can transport to locations that it may not been able to. But also, it does a lot of things as far as calorie burn, human growth hormone production. So your human growth hormones shoot up, which helps with recovery, metabolism, everything else. There's some really great benefits of detoxification of things in your body. So many great benefits of doing some sort of heat aspects around your body. I still will not do cold showers, but and then I
had a cold shower. I use like 9 times out of 10 I have a cold shower just before we come on the podcast, because it gives me that, because obviously it's later on in the day for me, so I need that, because I need to obviously have energy whenever I'm here and I'm not stuck hanging off the edge of my desk. So that's my hack for that.
I won't do cold showers.
Not that you're interested. Oh, yeah, that's
I try. Listen, I really tried to psych myself into doing cold showers, and I'm like, nope, it's not gonna do it. Nope. No. Like, I've done a lot of great things. Cold showers, nope. I'm done.
Not it.
Nope.
Just not interested.
Not interested. I just can't do it. And so we all have our quirks, right? Cold showers. Some people can do cold showers. That's fantastic for you. Not me. But and then at nighttime, the supplement routine can be good from a recovery perspective as well. So I take the Animal Pack PM. There's also like the Onnit Total Human PM packs as well. Combination of, essential amino acids. Again, if you don't have enough protein, again, you don't need essential amino acids. It's just great to kind of stack on top of it to make sure you're getting adequate protein. If you're doing adequate protein, again, you typically don't need essential amino acids. But it also has some nighttime things like magnesium, things to relax your body, that type of stuff. And I also take apigenin, which is just more for prostate health overall. Just a good thing to do. It was recommended by Huberman, so I had to do it. And then but really, that Animal PM pack has really helped out a lot. The magnesium aspects of things. I stay completely away from melatonin. I hear a lot of people that incorporate melatonin into their routine, and I used to do that. But there are some issues, side effects, especially with long-term use of heavy doses of melatonin. So I stick away from things that may have resonant impacts on my body long-term. But I'll tell you, my sleep is really solid. One of the other things that I invested in that has been a game changer for me, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to. So get used to it. So again, I'm a wussy when it comes to cold. But I have it's essentially like a pillow or a blanket that goes over your bed sheet, and there's a tube that goes through it, and it goes to this base that you fill with water, and it cools the bed down. So I have a set schedule where it drastically starts to drop the temperature of my bed, so that I start to get cold at night, and being around like the 63 to 64 degree, 65 degree temperature range has been really beneficial for my sleep. And I find myself in a much deeper sleep as I go through. So the cold weather aspect around sleeping is really important. And you don't feel like you're super cold because you have a blanket above you. Your body's kind of maintaining that heat, but below you is cold. So it's kind of a nice balance between everything. So that's kind of my recovery routine as I start to go through things. Stretching is important. Yeah. I try to stretch twice a day too. All those things are kind of compounded to my recovery.
I think to talk about sleep, what you're talking about, the coolness, I think that's something that I would need, because I'm a warm fucking person. But it's funny that you talk about, the bed and sleep routine. So obviously I've moved house, bought a new mattress, and I don't know if I've told you this, but anyway, I ordered a new mattress. It's fine. Obviously we know the importance of getting a good mattress and a good night's sleep and whatever else. I actually used to work in a bed shop, which is a whole different fucking conversation that we can have another time. But anyway, so I ordered this mattress, that was okay, and then the girl emails me to get a delivery date and whatever else, and she was like, we've just come across you on Instagram, are you bc.train on Instagram? I was like, yeah. She goes, that's really cool, I'm going to send you a complimentary pillow if you'll do a review for us. So I've had this pillow, and I was never a fan of thick, hard pillows, but my sleep since I've had it, I've slept fucking awesome. So this is my message to you guys: the importance of a good mattress and a good pillow will totally change your life. It's bedtime.co.uk for anybody in the UK that wants to go. I think I have a discount code for the thing. I feel like a proper influencer now, but I have a discount code for the mattress, or for the pillow. So that's my take on sleep and the mattress and the pillow.
mattress and your pillow is so important. So I used to always wake up with like my wife would know when I slept more because I could only go like this. I couldn't turn my neck the whole way. I couldn't like rotate my neck the full way because there'd be pain there. And having a good mattress and a good pillow has really fixed a lot of my bad sleeping habits. Yeah. And one of the things too I found is that I got a Sleep Number mattress that actually has like HRV stuff built into it. I don't honestly use that because I have my Whoop band, but it's good data for how you're sleeping. And I noticed that if I slightly raise the top of my bed, from a mattress perspective, I sleep more on my back, which is intended. I am a all over the place sleeper. I'll sleep on my side, on my stomach, on my front, everywhere. I'm always tossing and turning. And then, but if I just put it up, and if I elevate the back of it just a little bit, it keeps me more on my back to where I'm more positional and I can get more of a steady sleep as I'm going through. I'm not always fighting to figure out what's the most comfortable spot for me. So that's helped out a ton. So I can't emphasize enough the combination of a really good mattress and a really good pillow that can really help you out in those specific areas. And it's funny because with the Sleep Number mattresses, and a lot of the newer technology ones have this too, you can automatically adjust the firmness of them. So, Aaron is like the bed needs to be rock hard, like literally sleeping on concrete, And I used to be one of those ones that was like, it needs to be like I'm on a cloud. But since I've actually been adjusting things, I've gotten much more firm on my bed as I've gotten along, and that's actually worked out really well for me as I've started to adjust this as I've experimented with different things. So, I'm not nearly as extreme as Aaron on the bed of nails, but for me, it's I'm on a much more sturdy cloud as I'm going through and doing things. So.
Yeah, like I said, I used to work in a bed shop what it feels like 100 years ago. But the differences you can get in the mattress and the differences of what people need versus what they actually have, and actually spending time to actually understand what you need is massively important. And then obviously we know the importance of sleep, and if we're talking about optimizing your workouts and optimizing your training, obviously sleep's a big conversation around that as well.
I was on mute. I had to really quickly fix it. It would be a podcast if I wasn't struggling to get off of the mute, but I feel like there needs, I wonder if I can get the Stream Deck to hit, if there's a way for me to hit a button and it's mute on mute.
Of course, you can do everything on the Stream Deck. Literally everything. Like I could press a button here. I haven't set it up, but I could press a button here to turn the lights on. Everything.
I've had this thing for 2 months and I haven't touched it at all. It just sits there.
Looks good though. Looks good.
It looks really cool. It looks really cool, but it does nothing. It does nothing for me right now. But
see if you actually. So genuinely, this is obviously total side note that nobody really needs to know. But if you actually spend some time setting that up, it is a really fucking useful thing. To have. You can literally. You can set it up to do sequences as well. So if you press one button, it can do 10 things.
I
think that's going to make your life massively easier.
I agree with you, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I just need to actually go and do it, and I just
yeah.
It's like, hey, do I go lift for an extra 20 more minutes, or do I figure out Stream Deck? So yeah. That's one thing I want to say. Another quick story. We talked about this before the podcast, but. When we talk about progress, I think is another big topic, right? So we talked a little bit about, how do we maximize our workout routines and get what we need to? But I also think, why are we maximizing our workout routines, right? And what's the purpose of that? Obviously we want to try to perform our best, because the more we perform, the better our bodies handle it, the more we, build muscle, etc. And that's the same thing. It's like, I was explaining to my buddy yesterday why we do the way that we do it. And the program that I was putting him through is very similar to what I'm doing, which is, heavy compound movements, as heavy as we can go, between the 5 to 10 rep range for strength. And then the rest of that is attack your muscles from all different angles to blow it out to where it's exhausted, right? How many times can we hit that muscle to where you're just so fit, that muscle's so fatigued that it just gives up, right? And that gets into the volume discussion of how much volume can we throw at this in the higher rep ranges. And so, I started them off with deadlifts, then we did squats, then we did reverse hacks, then we did leg presses, and then we, finished it off with, throwing tires, goblet squats, and then I had him use the TRX bands and just jumping up and down. And it was funny because, if he would have started with that jumping up and down at the beginning, he probably would have been able to do 100 of them. I think he did 6 or 5, he could hear him. He's like, oh, and at the time, I was doing a push day, and I hit my triceps, my chest and triceps really hard. And I have this Iron Chest Master that I use more body weight for that I prefer. So it's, go down and it has these arms that, push in to get that pectoral flex as you're going through and doing it. And I can only do like 5 of those, and I can only do like 2 dips, So like I was at a fatigue state as well. So, it's like, hey, why are we doing this so hard? And again, it's to maximize that progression, but how do you track progression, I think, is a really big discussion. I know this is a rabbit hole that we could talk about probably for 2 hours, but what are some tips that you would recommend, Ben, for people to track progress? Because I think one of the biggest things that I even struggle with having you as a trainer is I'm not progressing fast enough. I don't notice a difference. How do I know I'm actually increasing, myself, getting better myself, or am I going to be that guy that's at the gym 3 years later looking the exact same, still wondering why I'm not looking like the guy next to me that's a bodybuilder? What is the steps for tracking progression, and how do you, obviously you don't want to compare yourself to anybody else. You want to compare yourself to yourself and making progress, but what are some things that people can look for in their own programs that they're doing to track progress and to show that they're actually getting progress down the road?
Yeah, before I get into that conversation, I would just like to remind you that all those things that you're putting your body through and like the enjoyment that you're getting for that, I am coming over there to do the same to you, to make sure that you are the one that's almost in tears from the workout. So just remember the enjoyment that you're getting from that. I'm coming over and I'm going to get the exact same thing. From a progression thing, the thing for me, I think, is having as much data as possible, because one thing that I've learned over time is you're not always going to progress every single week in every single area. So if you have a lot of different data markers, and this is why I have such an extensive check-in sheet, if you have a lot of different data markers, it means that then you can make sure that you're progressing somewhere along the line. If we're talking about training and optimizing your training, obviously the power of logging your workouts and having a workout log is essential for your progress, because I don't give a shit who you are, what your memory's like. There's no way you can remember every rep, how many you did, every set, every exercise, every single week. Having a log of it and knowing that you can flick back and forward on it and go through it and go, right, okay, last week I got X amount of reps at X amount of weight. I know what I need to do to beat that this week. So that to me is key. And, I find that people are so shocked whenever they start to see progress in terms of their strength, whenever they actually have the numbers in front of them. And I know for me, it totally transformed my training many years ago. The thing with that as well is, sort of being in tune with all the other variables throughout the day. So your hydration, your sleep, your food, the time of day, everything else that you've had going on, to make sure that whenever you go into the workout, you're going in a similar state. The other thing with that as well is, if you go 3 weeks, and I think I've said this before, if you go 3 weeks and you haven't progressed in a lift or a movement, then know that you can just swap it out for something similar. So progressing that way in terms of strength, logbook is absolutely key. Like anybody who's not logging their workouts or tracking their workouts, go right now, buy a logbook, write it with pen and paper, and you will literally, like, for me, it's a sort of almost like getting myself in the right mindset whenever I'm going into training. So I'll spend like 10 minutes writing it out in my logbook, and I'll sit, and that 10 minutes is me sort of getting into the headspace of like, okay, right, I'm going into training now. Okay, right, fucking hell, last time I did this is the weight that I did. I remember it was absolutely brutal. How am I going to beat that? But then you're in the mindset of knowing exactly the numbers that you're going in to do and exactly the numbers that you know that you need to hit. So logbook, number one. Videos are always good as well. And obviously, we've compared videos in terms of where you're at from a form perspective, even down to, perfecting the tempo. Like if you look back to videos even from a year ago, the videos of now, not even talking about the weight, but how you actually move and the control that you have of the bar, no matter what movement it is that you're doing. So videos are a good marker of that as well. Don't be, if you train in a big gym or a public gym or a commercial gym, don't be embarrassed about taking a video. Like, fuck them. I just literally set my phone up again for the 31 people on YouTube, set my phone up against my water bottle like that, and I take it like that. Like I have.
Is that really how you do it? Because I actually wondered that. I'm like, how does he get such good videos? I bet he's got like this podium or this thing here that he does.
No, that's literally how I do it. Sometimes I'll set it on the floor. Sometimes I'll set it on a bench, depending on where I'm at, I want to do it. But that's literally.
I thought it was much more sophisticated than that. But okay, that's
no.
That's great. No, I'm actually appreciating you even more right now. So go ahead.
So yeah, videos. Then obviously progress photos are essential. And, you know, again, you and I have had this conversation, and, you know, the frustration of you feeling like you're not progressing. And I just literally send you over a sequence of photos and you're like, oh, right, okay, I'm just going to shut up again now.
Yes.
So yeah, they would be the three main things. So having a workout log, essential. Taking videos of yourself, because you may not like the look of it now. You may look at it and go, geez, like, what way am I moving? But you're never going to correct it if you're not actually visualizing it. And I don't care about looking in a mirror. I don't care about anything else. Having a video and having a reference of it. And then obviously progress photos to look at them.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I can't emphasize enough how important the logbook, well, all three of those are, but the logbook for me was monumental and game-changing, because, you know, I look at last week's performance and I say, okay, well, I need to beat that, right, in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, I like the simplicity that you had a few podcasts ago around rep ranges on, like, you know, hey, if my goal is to get between 5 and 10 and I'm hitting that upwards of 10 mark, then I need to add more weight on, right? So that's an easy way of kind of keeping track of it. But at the same time, you know, having a detailed logbook of saying, you know, hey, my total volume, or this, you know, for this specific, you know, weight was, or this specific movement was this, you know, there are times where, just a good example, for my heavy compound movements, let's just say, you know, I hit 10, right? And so I add, you know, 10 more pounds on, or 20 more pounds on, or whatever it ends up being, and then I only get 6, okay? My total volume will be substantially lower than what it was with 10, because I'm able to obviously knock out more rep ranges. So I'll notice that, and I'll also add maybe an additional, you know, back offset on top of that, so that I can still get that volume range that I need, you know, for that specific movement. So I'm not hurting the volume aspects of things, but I'm still increasing on the strength side. So like yesterday is a good example of that. I increased my weights. You know, like I looked at it from 2 weeks ago. I had like, it was like 10, 9, and 8 for 235 on my my neutral grip incline, and, you know, so then I upped it to 245, and then I think I got like 7, 6, and 5 or something like that. And so then what I did is I just did an additional set of my back off sets of my, you know, I usually do one back off set, but instead I did 2, you know, and I just did, you know, like 185 by 15. And then I ended up, you know, being able to increase my volume from that previous week from that same movement or exercise, while also still increasing the weight that I'm incorporating for the strength side of the house. So, you know, without detailed data around that, I wouldn't be able to make that determination of saying, listen, you know, I need to still progress on volume, but I also need to still progress on strength. How do you balance those two as you're going through and doing that? And logbooks are one of those great ways of doing it. Again, mine probably sounds ridiculous as far as, you know, the math component of it, but, you know, understanding, hey, this is the weight that I did last week. How do I increase that this week, or to get one more rep? You know, like, hey, so, you know, if I did, you know, a bicep curl for 25 pounds, you know, and I did 10 of those, can I get 11? You know, or can I get 12? You know, just increasing that volume and getting one more rep, or just somewhere being able to add additional weight is what you're trying to accomplish here as you go through it. And that logbook is so critically important as you go through and start to do all those. Progress pictures, exactly the same thing. You know, there are times, many times I'd go to bed, I'm like, I suck. I'm not getting any better. You know, like I feel like I'm the same person as I was a year ago. And you're like, oh my God, dude, really? Seriously? Are we really doing this again right now?
This again?
Yeah, this again. Let me just go back to Dave a year ago to Dave today. Let's go through this really quick here. And, you know, and it's, you know, progress pictures are really important. And it's, you know, what I think people expect is that immediate feedback and results that you get from, like, Twitter, for example, or social media, where, like, you get instant feedback. Well, you're not going to get instant feedback for weight training for a week. You know, it's going to take time.
Well, you will. You just won't. The feedback you're getting is you can't walk. That is it.
That's feedback. You know, you did some good shit. But, you know, and you start to break that down. You start to notice little changes week after week after week, and saying, well, hey, maybe I'm a little bit thinner, or hey, maybe I'm noticing, you know, a vein, or maybe I'm noticing, you know, an actual muscle group that's you know, growing larger, or hey, my calves are growing bigger, whatever it ends up being. You know, you start to notice these little differences of how you start to build your body. And those are the things that are really important for you to see progression-wise. So progression in the logbook means that you're increasing muscle mass, right? So if you're going up in strength, you are increasing muscle mass, because your muscles are rebuilding themselves stronger in order to accomplish that specific thing. You're pushing yourself harder, your muscles grow faster, grow larger, grow in strength. And then your progress pictures are obviously the testament. Now, you know, we do things like measurements around, you know, waist and you know, your measurements around your arms and your chest and your quads and everything else. Those are also equally important, and coupling that with the scale to say, hey, am I going the right direction from a calorie perspective, or do I need to make deviations or changes, things like that. So there's a lot of things that you can do to track progress over time as you start to go through it. But getting that system in place is what's ultimately going to make you successful in your journey. If you want to be that person that's in the gym, and they do the same exact workout every single time with the same exact weight, and they have the same exact results for the next 10 years, you can be that person. But if you push yourself, and you start to actually understand what's going on in your body, and you have a system to put yourself around, you won't be that same person for 10 years. You will make progress. You will get stronger. You will be better. It's not going to be a maintenance mode type of thing. So, again, push yourself, understand the weights that you're pushing, push more volume, push more weights, the amount of weights, and keep yourself from a progress perspective and tracking what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that, that is an important one. And I think I've had this conversation before, but basically, long story short, the gym that I used to work in had another gym, like the original gym. And when I used to train in Gymco in Finicky, it's called, right? Not to get into it, but Gymco in Finicky, then the one that I worked in was Gymco in Cityside. So anytime that I was training, obviously when I worked in the gym, I just trained in the one in Cityside. Whenever I left the gym, I went back to train in the one in Finicky. And there was genuinely a lot of too many people that were there that were doing the same workouts, doing the same weight, and looked exactly the same. And that was like 4 years of a difference. There would be nothing more frustrating to me to be the same for 4 years. And literally, if you go in, fair fucks to anybody who goes to the gym, okay? Like, if you're going and doing it, you put the work in, then yes, that's half of the battle. But you want to make sure that you're progressing, because if you're going in and you're doing the same weight, the same reps, and the same exercise, you're going to stay the same. You need to create a new stimulus on the body, and that's how it will adapt. So yes, okay, going is half of the battle, but you may as well maximize your time, get there. And, if you're going to take time out of your day to do it, you may as well get the most from it by actually tracking and progressing through your workouts and through your lifts.
Yep. Those are all the things we look at. And again, that would be absolutely frustrating to me too if I wasn't making progress. Like, I gotta make progress. Like, if I don't see myself making progress, then I'm not pushing myself hard enough. I'm not doing the right things to get the goals that I want to. And again, go ahead.
I think that, you're talking about the one extra rep, and I had this conversation recently with a client. Like, it's great at the start because you start a new plan and you can progress quite quickly. So you're maybe getting, 5 extra reps. So you're adding 10 or 20 pounds. You're like, oh my God, I'm fucking invincible. But when you get to the end of the workout plan and you've been doing it for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, and you're grinding out those last reps, or you're reaching strength levels that you've actually never had before, you're literally putting your body through things that it's never done before. That, to me, is the most rewarding part of training. People are like, do you not get bored of your workouts? I'm like, I fucking love that. Like, I can actually be better at this. Like, I'm stronger. Like, I have a tangible, this is how many I did at this weight last week. This week's version of me did more. Therefore, I am better, I am stronger, and I have made progress. And that, to me, it then spills out into everything else that you do. Do you know what I mean? If you have that mental attitude of, well, I can do more in this, so why can I not do more in that? And that's ultimately the greatest gift that training has ever given to me, the ability to know that I can achieve anything I really put my mind to.
Well, I think that's like the point you said about the videos too, right? I mean, I remember you showed me that video of me doing a deadlift, and I had 245 pounds, lifting, and now I'm doing, 500 plus. And, it's like, you're like, wow, like that was me then, that's me now. I've come a really long way. And there are some, newbie aspects to that, right? When you first start training, you can go up very quickly because, you get your body, your mind muscle connection, your body gets used to the lifting the weights, you can continue to push it. But there comes a threshold where you have to seriously put weight on and muscle on to get to a certain point. And, and there was that time where I was just trying to get to 505 and you were too. And we were just grinding our asses off.
I actually saw a really good tip on how to progress if you start to plateau in your deadlift. So basically, if you imagine you set the safety bars or the pins in your rack and you almost do like, I don't want to say it, it's almost like an isometric hold. So you do it, the bars underneath the pins, and you come up and you hold it. So you're going against the pressure of the bar. So you can only push it a certain amount, and you're doing that isometric hold. A tip for us to try out.
I thought you were going to say deload week, and I was going to be angry at you. So.
Just hang up the call. That's it. Fuck
hey guys, I gotta go.
Yeah. Right. I think we should finish with 3 top tips of how to maximize or optimize your workout. I'll let you go first.
Eat enough food. I think
yes,
is
absolutely
one.
agree. You see people who are eating 1,000 calories in the bin. You need to eat enough food, and that, long story short, you need to eat enough food.
I was talking to my buddy yesterday, and he's like, "Oh man, I was just, I'm probably eating only like 1,500 to 1,300 calories a day." I'm like, "Dude, I'd hate my life. Like, I need more food than that, man. Seriously." So eat enough food, I think, is important for your training, right? And I think there's a certain part of that that's important to understand too, is that if you're not training, don't eat as much food, right? So if you're not training, don't eat 2,500, 3,000 calories, drop it down 400 or 500 calories from that workout perspective. So, keep that in mind as you're going through and eating it, but eat enough food to maximize the energy output that you're going to need for your body. That'd be number one. Number two would be get raspberry ketones. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Serious the whole way through and fucked it at the end. Nobody buy raspberry ketones. Please.
Don't get raspberry ketones. We're just joking. I think the second thing is making sure that you, and this is something that obviously I don't always pay attention to, is making sure you have ample recovery to be able to get your lifts in to do the maximum amount of effort, right? So recovery is a really big aspect of things. So, and if you do work out and your muscle groups are still extremely sore, take a day off, relax, repair your body, and if things are starting to hurt, don't just plow through it. You're just going to hurt yourself even more. So I think recovery is a big aspect of it. And then the third one for me, I think, will be, just the routine that you get yourself into that allows you to be in the right mental state as well as the right state to perform. For me, as soon as I take that pre-workout, and I'm not saying you have to take a pre-workout, just pre-workouts work for me. It's almost even if it's a placebo effect, when I take that pre-workout, I know it's time. Like, I know it's time that I'm going to, in a half hour, be putting my body through something that is going to need a lot of energy for. It's almost like a signal, even if it does nothing, even if, the 300 milligrams of caffeine and the 3,000 milligrams of beta alanine and everything else that's in there, and L-citrine and leucine and everything else, even if that's just a placebo effect, my body knows, hey, it's coming. And so I get myself into the right state. And I think that's an important piece is getting yourself into the right state to be able to go in there and to maximize, what you're doing from a workout perspective. Those are my three.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what I use to write out my training log for. Like, it's time to sort of switch from whatever I was doing before to knowing that I'm going to go and train. So if I've been recording a podcast or doing check-ins or on calls or whatever, then I open my workout log and I know, right, it's time to work out. The three for me would be prioritize your nutrition around your workout window. So, okay, we're talking about calories, that's absolutely fine, but the quality of the calories, if you think about food as fuel, you wouldn't put shitty fuel in a supercar. So you need to sort of think about it like that. Good quality food, prioritize it in and around your workout. Try and prioritize carbs in and around there to give yourself enough energy. The next one would be hydration. So make sure you're hydrated enough throughout the day. I can't emphasize enough the importance of being hydrated for everybody on the planet, but specifically if you're going to go and try and optimize what you're doing from a training perspective. And the third one would be make sure you have a good playlist. Good playlist can transform your workouts 100%.
Yes. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of play. That's a good one. I have to have music. Like, as soon as I start, my playlist is going, right? And it always is different. Like, you've heard my playlist, I mean, no country, but anything else is free game. So
anything goes, country,
except country. No offense to folks who like country. If you like country, that's cool. I just can't do country. So
yeah, so that would be my three. Prioritize your nutrition, well, all the time, but prioritize your nutrition in and around your workouts. Make sure you're hydrated and get yourself a good playlist.
Awesome. Well, hey, fantastic podcast. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to us today. Obviously, check us out on Twitter at We Hack Health, Hacking Your Health Podcast on Discord. All the various mechanisms, share with your friends, family, etc. I've been trying to cut down on the F-bombs. Ben has not. So, it's...
No, I've doubled down on them. You're cutting down and doubled down on them.
No, but seriously, appreciate the community, the response back. We get... what's great is, like the last podcast, a lot of the folks in the Discord channel were talking about the podcast and going through things. And I thought it was really good to see, those discussions. And one of them had on their TV listening to while they're working out. That's just great. Love seeing people get great information out of the podcast and hopefully help them out as they're going through this. And again, that's our whole thing here, is sharing our experiences and our journeys and sharing yours as well, and being able to incorporate those other than that vitamin dude. But other than that, everything else is great. So, but I really appreciate everybody.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things that I've seen is, people specifically on Twitter, maybe someone has asked a question or put a comment, and you'll see someone comment and tag, We Hack Health, and then literally put some information in that we have said or that they've learned from the podcast. And I think that for me, that's what this is about. Obviously, it's grown over the past 6 months or however long it's been, but share it with people, share the information, ask us questions, whatever you need. If there's topics you want covered, if there's people you want on, put it in the Discord, tweet us, whatever you need to do, but share it. Let's get the information out there, because ultimately the goal for us is to help as many people as possible.
Yep. With that, thank you very much. Appreciate everybody. We'll catch you next week. And we got Helmy on. Helmy's a big boy, so I'm excited.
I know you're going to be like,
yeah, we're like, hey, I'm gonna my tippy toes the whole time. Like, hey, Helmy, how you doing, man? How's it going?
Right. See you next week.